Welcome back to I Want to Talk About, the series where I take a topic, I sit on camera, and I blabber about it. And you know what time of year it is, you see the title. Today, I want to talk about the Xbox Game Showcase 2025. Not E3 season trudges forward. We had our first big show the other day with the PlayStation State of Play, which, as the time of filming this, I haven't uploaded the video just yet, but by the time you see this, it will be up. That was a show that I really enjoyed, more than a typical PlayStation State of Play, which I often find to be pretty middling. And then we had Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest show, which was a standard Jeff Keighley Summer Game Fest show, but at least we got Resident Evil 9 out of it, so that was fun. And now it was Xbox's turn, and last year Xbox had what I think was the best showcase of the summer, and maybe even the best showcase of the year, with their Xbox Game Showcase, which I thought was fantastic, had a lot of bangers. But obviously a lot's changed in the world of Xbox over the last year. Already at the beginning of last year, they were starting to bring more of their games to PlayStation, the competitor platform, of course. And in the past few months or so, after Phil Spencer once said that the dam would not burst open, that basically it wasn't like the first few games to come to PlayStation would just be the first to get over the dam and then the dam would bust open. Quickly, the dam did bust open, because even Xbox's biggest franchises were not exempt from being released on PlayStation. When it comes to Xbox, we think of the three pillars being Halo, Forza, and Gears. Earlier this year, Forza made it out on PlayStation. Later this year, Gears of War is making it out on PlayStation. And now there are some rumors flying that Halo is going to be coming to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch 2 as well. At this point, I think I've kind of joked that Xbox is basically a third-party publisher to everyone except themselves. But that's okay, because their plan is to put games in the hands of more players, to grow more devices, to grow Game Pass, their subscription service. And in the past year, across itself and the developers it owns and publishers it owns, Bethesda and Activision, we've gotten some pretty noteworthy games, like Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I'm still surprised to report was actually a very good game. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I quite liked, even though I'm not too into Indiana Jones like that. Avowed, which I wasn't as crazy about, but you know, it's a new Obsidian game, and it was cool to finally see that get out. South of Midnight, which I thought was a pretty good game, and as of recently, Doom the Dark Ages, which, hell yes, this game is fantastic. Oh, and if you want to count it, that Oblivion remaster came out and shook the world, so that was pretty fun. Which leads us into this showcase over here, which I didn't know what to expect out of it. I kind of figured that last year's banger of a show might have been a little too high of a bar, and, you know, there's always the chance that something could go down a little bit, but I was just hoping for a good show, and honestly, I can't lie, I was kind of disappointed. And no, I know what you're thinking, I was not disappointed just because that rumor about Spyro 4 appearing at the show didn't happen. Although I was obviously sad that that didn't happen, but that's not the reason I was disappointed. I thought the show was alright, but definitely weaker than the last few Xbox shows that I've seen. As always with these videos, I have my notes here with all the games that they showed. If I blow through some of them, I'm sorry. I just don't have a lot to say about some of these games. But kicking things off, we got to take a look at the Outer Worlds 2. Xbox, you were spoiling the Outer Worlds 2 Direct that was going to come after the show. But yeah, they kicked off with the game, and I've mentioned this in some videos before, but I just wasn't that crazy about the Outer Worlds. I know it was super popular and super well liked, but I think those kind of open world RPGs just often aren't really for me, so a new one wasn't really gonna move the needle at all. If anything, I just kind of like the trailers for these games because they're very funny and self-referential. Obsidian is known for that in their trailers. And I am glad that the game is finally coming out soon because it was announced back in 2021, so it's good to see that it's finally happening. And from what was shown, it looks like it's going to be a quality game, just not one that I'm really going to spend too much time with. But it is coming October 29th, and it's going to be a day one game on Xbox Game Pass. Obviously, Obsidian Entertainment is owned by Xbox, so a game like this would obviously come day one to the service. So if nothing else, I'll try it out when it's ready. Expect a lot of me in the video talking about Game Pass, by the way, because we got quite a few games on the service. Like the next game they showed, which I was actually pretty interested in, High on Life 2. I played the first High on Life because it was on Game Pass, and I actually thought it was a pretty entertaining and fun shooter, even though I think it's incredible on mute, because it is, to me at least, as someone who's not really crazy about the Rick and Morty style of humor, it is one of the most astoundingly unfunny games I've ever played. I've played depressing games that were more funny than the first High on Life. But again, High on Life was great to play, so I was kind of willing to stomach the humor, with thick honkin' air quotes around the word humor, because the game itself was really fun. So I'm certainly down for another helping of that, and the gameplay they showed here does look very fun. It looks like you're kind of moving around on a skateboard now, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I'm a sucker for games that let you ride around on skateboards or hoverboards or anything of the sort. So, it's a cool new thing to add to a High on Life sequel. If anything, I'm interested to see if this game is going to be significantly different than the first, because yes, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, but as many of you may know, like I mentioned Rick and Morty, High on Life was a game by Squanch Games, which was the studio. I don't know if it was headed by him or if he was just a big deal at the studio, but Justin Roiland, who was the creator of Rick and Morty, or one of the two creators of Rick and Morty, and a couple years ago he was ousted from the studio because of some allegations of sexual misconduct and things like that. So I am curious if this game is going to be like astoundingly different from the first one. Not so much from a gameplay perspective, but if maybe like just the game is going to feel different, if the vibe will be different or anything like that. I don't know. Again, I don't really know much about Rick and Morty. I just know that every time I've tried to watch it, I haven't really been that into it. So I don't know if the humor will be different, but I guess we'll see. It is coming out sometime this year, and again, it's going to be a day one game on Game Pass, just like the first game was, so definitely looking forward to trying that out. Another sequel I was a bit surprised to see, Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy. I hadn't been hearing anything about this beforehand, or anything related to Plague Tale necessarily, but yeah, we are getting a brand new one that's apparently a prequel. So if that sounds fun to you, well, there you go. Me personally, I tried to play the previous two Plague Tale games, but I just couldn't really get into them. I guess it's nice to see that the franchise is going to continue and have this prequel here, but again, I just probably am not going to get too deep into the game, and this kind of trailer wasn't really going to excite me very much. I mean, it was a CGI trailer with no gameplay anyway. There's only so much that a trailer can do to sell me on a game if it's CGI with no gameplay, unless it's a franchise that I'm already interested in. So yeah, not necessarily for me, but I guess I'm glad to know it exists. It's coming sometime in 2026, and much like the last game, again, it will be a day one Game Pass game, so I mean, maybe I'll still try it out. We'll see. Pretty big news out of the show. We then got to look at the Rogue Xbox Ally, or the Rogue Xbox Ally X. There's two of them. Xbox's handheld devices that we've been hearing about for so long. They've been rumored aplenty, and now we're finally getting a look at them. Honestly, at first I thought it was just going to be like an extension of like the PlayStation Portal, which was kind of like a streaming device almost. You still had to kind of be near the console. But no, this looks like it's a proper handheld device, so that's pretty cool, and pretty fitting that it was announced the weekend that the Nintendo Switch 2 came out. Probably just convenient timing. And it is good to see that with this device, Xbox's whole "this is an Xbox, play anywhere" kind of plan that they've been going with over the last few years is coming into focus a little bit more. Apparently one of the things that's been touted about this device is that you can kind of play games from several different storefronts on it, like Steam for example. So that's kind of cool to me, and it does make me wonder if sooner or later we're going to be able to play our Steam libraries on like an actual Xbox console. Because if that's the case, I will be excited. I have games on Steam that I cannot play on Steam because I have a Mac and they're not compatible. It would be great to get to play them on my Xbox. Apparently this handheld is coming this holiday, and they also revealed that Hollow Knight Silksong will be available by the time it comes out. Like, woo? I mean, look, I know it's a game that's super anticipated, but like, you didn't even give a date for the device, you didn't give a date for Silksong as a game, you didn't show much of Silksong, and it's not like that's an exclusive, so what's that gonna do to sell me on the thing? I can get Hollow Knight Silksong on the Switch 2 if I want to. I could get it on the PlayStation if I want to. I don't understand why they had to bring that up like it was something special, honestly. But nevertheless, moving on from there, we got to look at The Blood of Dawnwalker, a new debut game from developer Rebel Wolves, which is published by Bandai Namco. It's a 14th century medieval dark fantasy RPG with samurai sword-wielding vampires. Sick! Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, and I am rooting for it to do well because it's a first-time developer, but it didn't necessarily jump out at me as soon as I saw it because Bandai Namco churns out games like these in their sleep, but it does look pretty cool. And like I said, first-time developer, I'm hoping it ends up delivering when it does come out. It's coming out sometime next year, so we're going to have a lot of time to see it and to see how it carves out its own niche in a pretty crowded market. But from there, we got a nice little surprise announcement, Super Meat Boy 3D. This was a pretty fun one. I've never really played Super Meat Boy myself, but I know it's super popular, and it's cool to see it take off in 3D this time around. In the past, they were 2D platformers, so now we get a 3D one. That's pretty dope. And it does look very fun from the trailer. I know the OG game was known for being super difficult, and the footage that was shown in this trailer does look like it's going to be crazy challenging. I'm expecting this game to be an ass kicker, but I'm no hater of the fact that this exists. Not at all, actually. I'm very glad to see it come around. Again, Super Meat Boy, from what I remember, was one of the first big, like, major indie games in the wave of indie games to come in, like, the late 2000s, early 2010s. It was one of the first real big ones. So I'm glad to see the franchise continue, and this game does look very fun. I hope the longtime fans of the Super Meat Boy games are excited for it as well. It's coming out sometime early next year, and it's going to be a day one Game Pass game, so even as someone who's not into hugely challenging games, I'll probably still give it a shot. Just like the next game, which I'm really looking forward to playing, Ninja Gaiden 4. I mentioned it in my video on the State of Play, but I finally played my first Ninja Gaiden game this year with the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black re-release that came out on Game Pass, and I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. And this game also looks awesome. The action looks so badass and so sick. I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out myself. I've known this because this was announced months ago, but this game is also being co-developed by Platinum Games, which has me super duper excited because I love Platinum. And again, you could see it from the action in the trailer. I could watch the gameplay here and be like, oh yeah, that's Platinum style. And I know Ninja Gaiden is known for being super challenging, but Black did have an easier difficulty option. I'm not sure if this game will be the same, but either way, I'm still looking forward to trying it out. And honestly, I think I gotta give the other Ninja Gaiden games in this series a try before 4 comes out. I think they're on Game Pass, so I'll have to give them a look. And I may have to act kind of fast, because this one's coming out October 21st. Nice release date. And it's gonna be day one on Game Pass, so I'll definitely look into this one. From there, I mentioned this game a little bit earlier, but we got some new content for it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, The Order of Giants. Like I said earlier, I enjoyed Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, even as someone who doesn't really know Indiana Jones very well. I'm not really too into the franchise. I honestly had no idea it was even getting an expansion of any kind, but it is good news that it is, because I know a lot of people really enjoyed the game, and it's cool to see it getting more content. I don't really play a lot of expansions myself, so I don't think I'm going to grab this one. But I am happy it exists even as a non-fan of Indiana Jones, because it was a good game, and I'm happy to see it get more content. And even beyond the Indiana Jones part, I just love machine games, so I'm happy to see them still putting out some stuff. I just probably won't play it. I'll probably just set my sights on the potential sequel if and when that's ready to go. And I'll also set my sights on Wolfenstein 3, which is still supposed to be happening. Still waiting. But this is coming September 4th, so that's going to be a good one to look forward to in the back half of the year. Another big surprise we got to see was Beast of Reincarnation, a new action game from Game Freak of all developers. Which, yes, I did blurt out at my TV when the Game Freak logo showed up, because I saw this game and went, oh, so you can make a super graphically impressive game here, but not when it comes to Pokemon. Because yeah, if you looked at the gameplay of this game, you'd probably be blown away to know that it's made by the same people that made Pokemon. Even just looking at the graphics, I mean, it's night and day. Forget night and day, it's like decades apart. But it is pretty cool to see, and I do think it's going to be a lot of fun based on the gameplay that was shown here. It's such a massive switch up from what Game Freak usually does, because it's a straight up action game. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of it and seeing how it differentiates itself. The combat does look slick and the fights seem pretty grand in scale, so I'm hoping this game comes out strong. And look, I don't need a Pokemon game to end up looking like this, but in the future, Game Freak, please, can we get some slightly better looking Pokemon games, graphically speaking? Thanks. This one's coming sometime next year, and again, it's going to be a day one game on Game Pass, so definitely looking forward to trying that one out. Back onto the first party front, the Xbox Game Studios front specifically, we got to take a new look at Clockwork Revolution. This is a first-party title from In Exile Entertainment, the Wasteland developers. It was announced a couple years ago, back in 2023, and now we just got to see more of it. I've been looking forward to seeing more of it because of the whole steampunk aesthetic and the time aesthetic of the game, and it does look good. Admittedly, like I had said earlier with the Outer Worlds 2, a lot of these first-person RPGs do very little for me, so who knows if this is going to be a game that I stick with, but I definitely want to give it a try because the world looks so stunning, and I love the time-based mechanics as well. The way that the main character used time to literally slice through an enemy was crazy to me. I was seeing a lot of BioShock comparisons to this game, and personally, I've just never really played the BioShock games. And again, I'm not usually into those kind of games, so I can't really compare. But I hope this ends up being the exception because it does look very impressive. Still no date though. Again, the trailer kind of humorously once again said it's coming in due time. Okay. But again, it's a first party game, so it'll be a day one Game Pass title. Cool. Sticking to the first party front, we then got to take a look at Grounded 2. I played the first Grounded again because it was on Game Pass, and I just couldn't get into it. Not really my kind of game. I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'll never fully get into an Obsidian game, at this point in my life. So this is one that I don't think will have much longevity for me, and after watching the trailer, I don't have a ton to say about it. I'm sure it's going to be fun for people who enjoyed the first game, and again, the trailer was funny, because Obsidian's trailers are always like that, but I just doubt I'll play it that much. It's coming very soon though, July 29th, and again, it's going to be a day one Game Pass title, so maybe I'll give it a cursory look, download it, and give it a chance. Again, that's what Game Pass is good for, but probably won't play it that deeply. From there, we got to look at Chronos: The New Dawn, a new survival horror game from Bloober Team, who recently did the Silent Hill 2 remake. Pretty interesting. It kind of looks like a Dead Space-inspired horror game, which, after really loving the Dead Space remake and being very disappointed that EA seemingly canceled the remake of Dead Space 2, I'll gladly take another horror game in the style of Dead Space. I mean, granted, I haven't been too huge into Bloober Team in the past, but all in all, I do think the game does look pretty good from what they showed. They didn't show much in terms of gameplay, so I do think I still need to see kind of like an uninterrupted look at gameplay before I can properly consider it a highlight. But I'm definitely keeping my eye on this one. It does look appropriately scary alongside the gameplay being pretty enjoyable from what the trailer showed. So I hope this one ends up being good. And it's coming fairly soon. It's coming out this fall, so I guess we'll see how good it ends up being sometime very soon. Then we got the announcement of The Elder Scrolls Online Seasons of the Worm Cult coming June 18th, and from there, one part of my not E3 bingo card is filled. Next, Aphelion, the new game from Don't Nod, the Life is Strange developers, that definitely looks very much unlike a lot of what Don't Nod usually does. It's a sci-fi game about two astronauts who crash on an alien planet, and it's apparently being developed in collaboration with the European Space Agency, which is pretty fascinating. The trailer showed a lot of platforming and things like that that looked really good, and I think it has the potential to be pretty exciting, but I'm not quite sure what the game's hook is just yet. Again, I feel like I need to see a little bit more of it before I really make a proper judgment on it. But if nothing else, it's kind of fascinating. Color me at least cautiously intrigued for this one. It's coming out sometime next year, so we still have some time to see it, and it's going to be a day one Game Pass title. Don't Nod has put out a lot of games on Game Pass at this point, so definitely going to be looking forward to looking into this one when it's ready to go. From there, we got to look at There Are No Ghosts at the Grand, the new debut title from a developer known as Friday Sunday, and this may have been the best game of the show for me, if I'm being honest. It's like a first-person game where you acquire a hotel and you have to fix it up, but it's also like a supernatural mystery and also a musical. Yeah, it sounds kind of insane. And it's funny because at first glance, I definitely caught a lot of like House Flipper and Power Wash Simulator vibes and comparisons. But again, it feels like this game is doing a lot more than what those games did, in the sense that, from watching it, it kind of looks like they took the lore of Power Wash Simulator, because yes, that game does have lore, plenty of it, but just made that lore like the centerpiece of the game, and I think that's so fun. Very twisty and very unique. One of the most different looking games that was shown off at this showcase. One of the stranger ones as well, but it's one I'm looking forward to all the same. It's coming out sometime next year, and again, it's going to be a day one Game Pass game. And this is one I'm absolutely looking forward to trying out. I could definitely get behind a game like this. Really looking forward to it. Then from there we got to look at Age of Mythology Retold Heavenly Spear coming out this fall. It's an expansion to a remaster of a spin-off of the Age of Empires series. And as someone who doesn't play RTS games and knows fuck all about them, I say, next! Mudang 2 Hearts, the new debut game from Korean developer Ever Studio. I'll be honest, this kind of left my head almost as soon as the show was over. Not because it looked bad, it's just that when I watched it during the showcase, my thought was, wow, this new Tom Clancy game looks crazy. It's a third-person shooter that's also a military stealth game based on a webtoon. I'll root for it again because it's a first-time developer and it looks really polished for a first-time studio, but I don't know if anything about it necessarily jumped out to me, other than the fact that the story puts you in the shoes of two completely different characters, one being a North Korean soldier and the other being a K-pop star. Really great dichotomy there. But otherwise, yeah, didn't really jump out at me. Feels like one I'll definitely need to see more of. But it's not coming till sometime next year, so I'm sure I'll have plenty of time to see more of it. From there, something that I hope was more exciting to you guys than it was to me. Maybe it was because it's a sequel to an indie game that I've heard very good things about. Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Thief. Or is it Lana? I only heard of the first Planet of Lana, whichever, a little bit before the show, but apparently it's like a puzzle platformer that's basically Inside meets Studio Ghibli, which sounds like a pretty decent combination. It looks pretty, and I'm sure the game is going to end up being great, but again, when it comes to games like this one didn't really tickle my fancy more than a lot of other 2D platformer type adventure games end up looking. While watching, I caught a lot of comparisons to Ori, and I feel like I'll probably just stick with that, honestly. With that said, the first game is on Game Pass from what I saw, so maybe I'll have to go give it a look and see if I've been missing out. And I'll have time to, because this new one isn't coming out till sometime next year. And again, it's going to be a day one Game Pass game, so that'll be something to look forward to for you guys, and I'll probably give it a shot at some point when it inevitably comes there in the future. After that, we got to look at Fallout 76 Gone Fishin'. Apparently this was released before the show, but I guess they just wanted to remind people they added fishing. Next! Solo Leveling Arise Overdrive. Apparently this is a web novel or webtoon, the original Solo Leveling. I wouldn't know. I think I only ever heard the name like once or twice before this showcase. Based on what was shown here, the action gameplay seems fun, but upon further research, I saw that it was a gacha game, and my interest flew south for the winter. I'm not really too into gacha games, and one based on a webtoon I pretty much know nothing about wasn't gonna suddenly change my mind. Again, this is a pre-existing game though, so I'm sure a new version of it is going to be exciting to the people who already play it, so that's good news, I guess. This Overdrive version is coming this fall to PC and sometime next year to console. A little weird that console players have to wait so long, but oh well, what are you going to do? Continuing from there, we got to look at Anemo, which is the new debut title from an indie developer named Paw Print Studio. Now, I wanted to jokingly say that this game was We Have Pow World at Home, but it looks like this is a monster catching game where you actually play as the mons, so that's nice. And I know a lot of people on Twitter were joking about the lawsuit this game is going to inevitably get from Nintendo, kind of like Power World did, but I think you guys are sadly mistaken. If anyone's suing, it's probably going to be Bandai Namco, because, at least to me, the creatures in this game look more like Digimon than Pokemon. So the point is, someone's going to sue. I hope not. I don't think they should. It's a totally different game. But yeah, honestly, that's the most I can discuss about it because it didn't really make me think much other than, sure, that looks cute. If anything, I was kind of distracted because the song that was in the trailer, while I was hearing it, I couldn't stop going, is that Camila Cabello? It's not, but I don't know, I just thought of her voice when I heard it. I mean, yeah, again, it's cute that you actually get to play as the Mons in a Mon Catcher game, but it's coming sometime next year, so maybe they'll end up hooking me before the game actually releases. Onward to something I'm definitely looking forward to, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. This wasn't really a long showcase, it was kind of just like a launch trailer for the game because it does come out very soon. But again, I'm really looking forward to this one because I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, and even though it's a different developer, I have faith this is going to be a good one. They also revealed that Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to be playable, so that's great. Obviously, Doom Guy was already confirmed as a playable character, so having Mikey there is going to be fun. It's coming out July 11th, as I've said before, I think in my Nintendo Switch 2 Direct video. That's going to be a lot of fun, something to look forward to. That's only 4 days after my birthday, so that'll be a nice present. Apparently there was a demo released after the show as well, so I'll have to look into that. And again, the full game is going to be a Day 1 Game Pass title, so great news for me. Back onto the indie front, we got to look at Fate's End, the newest title from Thunder Lotus Studio, who did games like Spiritfarer and 33 Immortals. They clearly love working with Xbox. I remember seeing both of those games at Xbox game showcases, so that's something. It's like an action-adventure game, but in it you have to fight your family, and the members of your family are also like your skill tree. No matter how much media comes out that's about breaking down generational trauma, I just can't get enough. Although I feel like I still need to learn more about this game, because it has an absolutely fantastic art style. It looks beautiful. But I feel like, and you guys can tell me in the comment section, you can help me, but I don't know how the combat works in this game. Like, I noticed that it involved cards, but like, is it a pure action game? Is it a pure card game? Is it like a mixture of the two? For some reason, I couldn't tell in the trailer, and I don't know if that's just me, but I was kind of lost for a moment, like, wait a minute, how do you control this? In these combat interactions, at least. Again, I don't know if it's a game I'm dying to play, but Thunder Lotus has done some good work in the past, so I'm sure this will be another solid game. It's coming out sometime next year. Of course, Day 1 on Game Pass. I'll probably end up checking it out then. Over onto the first-party front, we got to look at Gears of War Reloaded, which would have been a hype announcement if I hadn't already known about it. This was announced like a month or two ago or something like that, and honestly, I mean, I feel like it would have been more exciting if the world hadn't already known. Also, I think I've said this before, but I'm not really that into Gears of War. I've tried several times to get into the series, but it just has never really been for me, so I don't know if this was something that was going to have me like, oh my god! But maybe this could convince me to give the game another chance. Also, why the hell are Gears 2 and 3 still being held hostage? And yeah, by the way, like I said earlier, this is coming to PlayStation. Forza and Gears are both on PlayStation. The moment Halo comes to PlayStation, by all accounts, Xbox will be a third-party publisher. Because look, I don't want to believe it. I know Phil has said if they lose Halo, they lose Xbox, but I feel like it's just going to happen sooner or later. They're already bringing all these games over to PlayStation or Switch 2 or whatever. I feel like Halo's got to come over. It doesn't have to be the new games, but I can see like the Master Chief Collection coming over or something like that. Sorry, didn't mean to diatribe. The point is, this is coming out August 26th. Of course, it's a day one Game Pass game, but that may not even matter if you already own the Ultimate Edition. I'm pretty sure you can just upgrade to Reloaded for free, which I do own it, so I'll take advantage of that. Again, probably give it a shot when it comes out this August. Next, an announcement that I know is going to get a lot of people excited, and probably one of the bigger ones of the show, even if there wasn't much to it. Persona 4 Revival. This was basically leaked before the show because I think some of the actors had revealed that they weren't returning for it, which kind of gave away that it actually existed. And of course, it was properly revealed here because as of late, Xbox really loves showing Persona and Persona-adjacent games at their show. Give them credit. I think most people in Japan have no idea what an Xbox is, but Xbox is doing everything they can to bring the Japanese games to their systems. And hey, Japanese games are fucking awesome, so I get it. Now, like I said, I know this will be exciting to a lot of people. I know some people personally who are probably screaming their heads off at this announcement. You know who you are. But as someone who knows nothing really about Persona and isn't really into the franchise or this style of game necessarily, I feel like I can only really applaud it from the sideline. Plus, they barely showed anything, so I'm just taking a guess, a wild guess, that it's fairly early in development. There was no release date for it, or even release window, so who the hell knows when we're gonna get it. I'm pretty sure that the Persona 3 Reload was released like 2 or 3 years after it was first announced, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have a similar time gap with this one. But again, I'm glad it exists, and it is going to be a day one game on Game Pass, because again, they really love putting Persona games on Game Pass. Still, even if it's not my kind of series, I'm very happy for the fans who are getting this. And then from there, we got Sea of Thieves Smugglers and Tides, which is coming in August. Season 17 of the game is fantastic, given how that game launched, but again, my not E3 bingo cards free space has been filled. Next, Invincible Versus. This is where things were kind of starting to kick up a little bit in the show. This is seemingly the debut title from developer Quarter Up, and it's published by Skybound Games, the gaming division of the company that owns the Invincible IP. Now, I don't know anything about Invincible as a franchise, I just know it's super popular, and J.K. Simmons plays the dude with the mustache. Sorry, I can't disrespect him and just call him that. Omni-Man, that's his name. He was in frickin' Mortal Kombat. What the hell am I talking about? But this game looks hella fun. It's a 3v3 tag team fighter, and the gameplay in it really looks hella smooth. Very minor thing, and this is more just the Smash Brothers fan in me, but several of the characters do the whole Falcon Knee of Justice thing in their moveset, and honestly that just kind of made me nerd out a little bit. Plus, at least from the little I understand of Invincible, this franchise, this IP, seems perfect for a fighting game, so I'm glad to see this exists. It's been a great time to be a fighting game fan recently, and between this and the Marvel Tokon game that got announced at the State of Play, I've really got some stuff to look forward to from the genre. Now, what the hell are you up to, DC? It's coming in 2026, definitely going to be looking forward to playing that right alongside Marvel Tokon. It's going to be a fun year for fighting games. And given that I mentioned the franchise before you ask, I have no idea when Nintendo's going to have a Smash game ready on the Switch 2. But I'm willing to be patient. Ultimate's too good. Pretty big one up next, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Final Fantasy XVI both were confirmed for Xbox releases. Finally, FF7 Remake is coming to Xbox. I kind of figured it would happen sooner or later because the game was announced for Switch 2 recently, but it is nice to see 5 years later, Xbox fans finally get to play FF7 Remake, which is great. It's an amazing game, so I'm glad more people get to play it. And Final Fantasy XVI is also a great game, so I'm glad to see that is on Xbox as well. The 7 Remake is coming out this winter, but 16 actually shadow dropped. It released like right after the show. So that's cool. I hope anyone who has an Xbox is playing it now, and I hope you're having a good time. From there, we had another major first-party game announcement, and one that I was really excited about. We got to take a look at Keeper, a new first-party game from the great developers over at Double Fine. A new Double Fine game was rumored before the show alongside Spyro 4, which didn't show up. And this was one of the games I was most looking forward to seeing before the show, largely because I really love Double Fine's work with the Psychonauts games, and this already looks like it's bringing more of that absolutely wild charm that makes Psychonauts so great. It's not Psychonauts, but it looks like it's bringing a lot of what makes Double Fine's games so compelling. You control a walking lighthouse in the game that's basically driven by a bird, which is one of those sentences that you say and then you end with, "I promise I'm straight edge." It looks so wild and off the wall in a way that it feels like only Double Fine is truly capable of, and I think there's such an oddball beauty to the game that I myself just cannot wait to experience. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the game even brings the emotions, because Psychonauts, for all of its wonderful weirdness, can definitely be an emotional game, so I wouldn't be surprised if this one brings the feels as well. Even if it doesn't, there's just such a gentle simplicity to it that I can't wait to see unfold. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this game does when it comes out. It's coming very soon, actually, and I'm very excited about that. It's coming October 17th. October is really starting to become a packed month, and I'm very excited. I love video games, man. I'm so happy that we're getting so many more games this year. And it's going to be a Day 1 Game Pass game, so that's sick. Great to see the holiday lineup this year really starting to take shape, and great to see that Game Pass is going to be so packed. Then after that, Phil Spencer came out and continued to Phil Spencer it up. That motherfucker still owes me money every time he says the word creativity. And while he was Phil Spencering it up, he revealed that next year, of course, is the 25th anniversary of Xbox, and noted that pretty much all the heavy hitters will be out next year. He confirmed that next year we will see the releases of Fable, which they didn't show, Gears of War E-Day, which they didn't show, the next Forza game, which they didn't show, and the return of a classic that's been with Xbox since the beginning. I mean, Halo seems like the obvious answer, and the rumors are saying it's some kind of remake or remaster of Halo Combat Evolved, but in that case, if it's Halo, why not just say it? All games they didn't show. Coming next year. Phil, I just want you to know I totally believe you, and I promise I'm not saying that to butter you up so that you'll pay up. But either way, yes, the classic Xbox joke of wait till next year has reached its peak today. Granted, I mean, we still have a good year ahead of us with Xbox games. There was a decent amount coming, so, I mean, I don't think it's that bad, but yeah, this was definitely a wait till next year moment. But then we had one more game to show, and you know they were going to end with something huge. They had to. They just had to make it a huge finisher. The biggest thing they could have shown that would have made everyone excited. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. CGI no gameplay trailer. Really? They ended the show with a CGI trailer for a Call of Duty game? Look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get angry, I don't like to rage in videos or anything like that, but this, I'm not exaggerating when I say, this might be one of the worst one last thing moments that I have seen in any gaming showcase ever. I know that Call of Duty is super popular in the mainstream, it sells like hotcakes, but Call of Duty comes out every year. It's not a one last thing kind of game. Like, why was this the closer to the show? And not only this, but a CGI no gameplay trailer for this. Again, I know, Call of Duty's the same thing every year, that's everyone's joke. Like, come on, they didn't need to show gameplay necessarily, but like, seriously? If the show ended with a CGI no gameplay trailer for Halo, fine. You wouldn't see me rage like this. It's Halo. But Call of Duty happens literally every year. Death, taxes, and a Call of Duty game. Literally, it's not a one last thing kind of game. So I'm sorry to get so like caustic and angry about it, but this genuinely, when the logo for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 popped up, I screamed really at my screen because I could not believe this was the note they chose to end on. And I also can't believe this exists because I'm just going to point this out now. I'm sure people are going to be excited because it's Call of Duty, and people are going to buy the game because it's Call of Duty, but I am just going to give a warning, so heed my word on this. If you don't want to believe me, you don't have to believe me, but just hear me out. A new Black Ops game a year after the last Black Ops game. Remember what happened the last time a Call of Duty game in a particular sub-series came out the year after a previous game in the sub-series? Yeah, that was Modern Warfare 3 a year after Modern Warfare 2. Remember how that turned out? Do not be surprised if this comes out and ends up feeling like a rush job. Just saying. They didn't even give a release date. Again, it's supposed to come out this year, but like, sure, alright, fine, I guess. So much for getting rid of the yearly releases and that whole schedule they were on. Again, it'll be a Day 1 Game Pass game, so alright, that'll probably be the only reason I play it, but Yeah, can't wait for it to take up like 300 gigs on my Xbox. Of course, this wasn't entirely the end of the show because they did end with the Outer Worlds 2 Direct, which also covered Grounded 2 since it was the same developer. But again, like the Starfield Direct in 2023 and the Black Ops 6 Direct from last year, I slept through this one. Like I said, I'm sure the game's going to be good, but I just don't find myself particularly interested in Obsidian's games, so I didn't really have much to look forward to in this one. From the bit of skimming I did, of course, it looks good for what it is, just not really my kind of game. I'll try it when it comes to Game Pass later this year. Again, it's coming out October 29th. But I'll just leave this for everyone else to enjoy. So overall, yeah, I mean, this Xbox show was just unfortunately disappointing. It wasn't terrible. Very little that was here looked outwardly bad. But after such a banger showcase like last year, this one just felt kind of quieter to me. It's a weird thing to me when Xbox shows games one year and then just totally leaves them out the next year. And this year felt like a noticeable example of that. Phil Spencer coming out rambling about Fable and Gears of War E-Day and Forza and whatever that classic game that's coming out next year is supposed to be, Halo probably, makes their absence feel all the more noticeable, and it also makes the absences of games from last year like Perfect Dark and State of Decay 3 even more noticeable as well. This is not even to get into games like Contraband and Everwild and that Project Mara thing that have been MIA for years now, to the point where I'm wondering if they even really exist. I know that with the recent State of Play, I gave Sony a little bit of a pass for not showing as many first-party games, but I can't give Xbox the same pass here, and it's not out of anything anti-Xbox before anyone goes and conspiracy theorizes. It's really just out of the fact that this is Xbox's big showcase. The State of Plays, as disappointing as they are, they never really advertise them as a big deal because they have the PlayStation showcase for that. For Xbox, this is the big show. They do one of these a year, and then maybe at a point they do like a little developer direct and maybe like a third-party show. So this is the big moment for them to come out swinging, and I feel like they didn't. And if you couldn't tell by my rare Matt Rage moment, ending the show the way they did with a CGI trailer for Call of Duty genuinely pissed me off when it happened. I'm not kidding, I almost lowered the grade for this show on that alone. Like, that was almost enough to make me drop my grade of the show. But I wanted to be objective to the rest of the show. I didn't want the exciting games from first-time developers and all the new Game Pass titles that are actually legitimately exciting to be spoiled by a bad finisher. But even then, again, the rest of the show just didn't really do a whole lot for me. Really, again, the thing that did the saving this time around, and does the saving most of the time for Xbox, is the knowledge that a lot of what's here is going to be on Game Pass. Of the, by my count, 30 games that were shown today, 18 of them are going to be on Game Pass. You can also technically add 5 to that because several of the things they showed were additional content for games that are already on Game Pass. And pretty much most of the heavy hitters that I'm really looking forward to are going to be on Game Pass, which is great. It's a great service. I'm glad to have it, and I know I'm going to have a lot to play over the next few months, which is awesome. And even into next year, I'm going to have a lot to play, which is really exciting. But as it is, I found the show to be kind of underwhelming, and after a great State of Play earlier this week, I wish this show just brought the hype a little bit more. If I had to give the show a grade, I'd probably give it like a C- to a C. Again, I almost lowered the grade, but I thought it would be unfair to give this show a D or anything like that, just because of that Call of Duty finisher. The show as a whole was alright, and there are games I'm looking forward to, and again, not much looked bad, but otherwise it was definitely disappointing to me, especially compared to the incredible showcase they had last year, and the great show they had the year before. As far as my concern or excitement for Xbox in the future, if this makes me feel comfortable about them, again, to me, Xbox is like a glorified third-party publisher that just so happens to have some hardware. So at this point, it really is just about the games. Even if Xbox does kind of go third-party, they're going to keep making games. I think even if consoles don't end up happening, Xbox isn't going to stop making games. And they might still make some dedicated hardware, so at this point, I'm not really thinking too much about the long-term viability of the brand. I just want to see good games. And for the most part, there were some here. I just wish there was a little bit more. But again, that's just my opinion on the Xbox Game Showcase. What did you guys think about it? Were you way more excited than I was? Were you way less excited than I was? Were you completely indifferent toward it? What are the games that you're most looking forward to from the show? And given how hard I raged about them ending the show with Call of Duty with a CGI trailer, did that anger you? Were you just as upset as I was that that was the finisher to the show? Were you as upset that that was the one last thing? Whatever your thoughts and opinions are, leave them down in the comments below. Let's keep this civil and have some fun as we like to do. If you guys want to hit like and subscribe and support some of my other ventures that I have linked in the description, thank you. If not, it's no big deal. I totally understand. And as for what's next, well, I need a video break because the State of Play and this show, the videos themselves, are obviously going to be super overwhelming to edit and finish up and all that stuff while keeping up with my job, while making sure that I'm playing the Switch 2, which just came out. It's been a very busy week in gaming. So yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a break, of course. Not a super long one. It's just when I'm inspired, I'll make another video. But I think the next time you'll hear from me in a long-form video after this will be whenever Nintendo has the next Nintendo Direct ready. Hopefully it's this month. I mean, it is the month to do it. Hopefully we get one soon, and again, that'll be the next time I do a long-form video. Again, in the meantime, I'll be doing some of the shorter reviews. I know this weekend the new Lil Wayne album came out. By the time this video goes up, maybe my review of that will be up. I don't know. I haven't even really listened to the album yet, so we'll see when that goes up. But either way, more stuff to come, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.